Hello and welcome back to Section 3 of Chapter 1 in the Regents Biology course. We're doing the study of life, and biology is the science that seeks to understand the living world. So there are several characteristics that make up living things. Made of cells, they reproduce, they're based off a universal genetic code, they grow and develop, they obtain and use materials and energy, they respond to their environment, and they change over time. So let's take a look at each of those things. So living things are made up of cells. Cells, which we'll learn about in Chapter 7, are a collection of living matter enclosed by a barrier that separates the cell from its surroundings. Multicellular, many cell, is what that means. The human body is made up of about 85 different cell types. Now unicellular is one cell, so we're talking bacteria and microorganisms here. Now cells can grow, respond to their surroundings, reproduce. Right? So these are characteristics that cells have. Now living things reproduce. Now we have sexual reproduction, is when two cells from different parents unite to form the first cell of a new organism. And asexual reproduction is when the organism only has a single parent. So this right here is a hydra, it's a nidarian. All right? It's from the same phyla as jellyfish. And if we take a look right there, it's reproducing asexually. It has new hydra growing off the side of it. And living things are based off a universal genetic code. Genetics is the study of heredity and the variation of organisms. And DNA makes up the genetic code that separates one organism from another. So DNA is a universal language that everything is written in. The complexity of that code determines how complex the organism is. We are obviously much more complex than something like a plant or a bacteria. However, we're still written in that same DNA language. So a comparison would be like reading a children's book, See Spot Run, versus a very complex novel, War and Peace, Ulysses, something like that, that is a much more complex writing. All still written in the English language, but one is more complex than the other. All right? That's the same thing. The DNA is the code. Now, DNA, in almost all cases, is why traits are passed down among organisms. In some cases, RNA is going to be involved, and we'll discuss that. Living things grow and develop. Each organism has a pattern of growth and change over time. That pattern may just be a growth, or it may be a developmental process. All right, so as we see right here, this butterfly has a developmental process. It grows, and then it has a developmental process to change it from the caterpillar into the butterfly. Living things are going to obtain and use materials and energy. So to continue along the life cycle of an organism, it is necessary that an organism has energy. Metabolism is the chemical reaction through which organism builds up or breaks down materials as it carries out this life process. We're going to spend a whole chapter on respiration, all right, which is part of the metabolism. We're going to use that right before Christmas time, so you'll get a good look into that. All right, and all organisms take in the energy they need from their surroundings. Now, we have things like plants that take in the energy from the sun, whereas we take in energy from plants, all right, or organisms that have eaten plants. All right, your cheeseburger ate plants. Cows eat plants. Energy sources. Sun is an energy source for some plants and algae. Otherwise, organisms take in energy from a source lower down on the food chain. Other organisms, known as decomposer, take in energy from the remains of dead organisms. So these decomposers are going to take the dead organism and break it down and use that as their energy source. Living things respond to their environment. Living organisms respond to changes that take place in the world around them. All right? So if it's hot out, you will sweat. If it's cold out, you will shiver. You're responding to that environment. Living things maintain a stable internal balance. Organisms will take action in order to maintain a stable internal balance. Homeostasis is the process by which organisms keep internal conditions stable. All right? So these are going to be things we're going to learn about in the next section. Taken as a group, living things change over time. So evolution is that change over time. And we will spend 2 chapters sometime after the midterm, early March, late February, doing evolution. and the branches of biology. So life can be studied at many levels, including molecules, cells, organisms, populations of a single organism, communities of populations living in the same area in the biosphere. Biology is so large as a topic that it is broken down into smaller branches so that it can be studied at a more specialized level. So you're going to have people who specialize only in evolution, only in the evolution of certain organisms. People who study genetics, people who study, just the genetics of yeast alone. So you're going to break it down, and biology is a large topic that is broken down into smaller pieces so people specialize in those topics.